in middle schools and then in high school internships and partnering with our universities so that we can create the workforce of tomorrow. Thank you.
Our administration's economic strategy can be found in this book. This is a book to the pathway to success here in Prince George's County. The economic strategy begins with education. Education is the foundation for everything that's going to change in Prince George's County. It's going to lower our unemployment rate. It's going to lower our crime rate. It's going to provide us with the opportunity for those individuals that want to stay in Prince George's County to be here, and for businesses to want to move to Prince George's County. So that's got to be the #1 priority. We then need to change our image of Prince George's County. We've got to change our image to one where we're a mecca for international business, and that Prince George's County becomes a global power, so that the economic development that we want will be attracted to Prince George's County. We've got to look at making sustainability and renewable energy a priority here in the county. It's an opportunity to create jobs for our youth. It's an opportunity to go after federal dollars that are available there from President Obama's administration. We also have to look at attracting our federal and state agencies. One of the things that we made a mistake on was when we had Suitland and the U.S. Census Bureau there. We had the opportunity to utilize federal dollars to totally revamp the entire Suitland area. That was not done. We've got to be smarter in what we do when we attract federal and state agencies to Prince George's County. And we've got to use our bond money, our tax incentive funds, and we've got to proactively go after federal and state agencies and move them here to Prince George's County. We also need to look at the National Research Center that we have here and make research a viable entity here within Prince George's County, because we have Adelphi, we've got Beltsville, and we've got NASA Goddard Space Center with the University of Maryland. And lastly, we need to look at recompeting our county and state government contracts here in the county for economic development to give our small businesses here in Prince George's County an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for all the answers. If you could, it'd be fine to start passing your questions down the row. Now, one of the challenges, or one of the great equalizers in Prince George's County in this past, during this economic crisis, the foreclosure crisis has been a great equalizer. It's brought us all together. It's impacted those who are homeowners. It's also impacted those who are renters, because people who own those homes, renters found themselves to be extremely vulnerable as well. What is your plan, or how would you improve our housing plan to include dealing with the foreclosure crisis, the high number of vacant new homes and foreclosed homes, as well as homelessness and transitional housing? You got the draw, man. You the first one.
Then I appreciate that. That's not a problem. I don't mind going first. I don't mind at all. I do have a plan for foreclosure. One of the things that happens here in Prince George's County is that we lead the state in foreclosure. A number of things, I think, contributed to that, and we have to begin to deal with that. It's almost like what happened to us when we were redlined, and now we have predatory lending, and we find ourselves in a real bad situation. I plan to put together a major task force to begin to look at how we stem the foreclosure crisis using the state legislation and the federal legislation that has been passed. The state has passed legislation that requires mediation before a person would lose his or her home. The other thing that we have to also deal with, in tandem with bringing together people to help us explain to individuals what they need to do in order to save their home. And therefore, we have to begin to fund our nonprofits, those that provide counseling. The other thing that we have to deal with is the appraisals that are being done here in Prince George's County. What is happening is that the appraisals are appraising properties on distressed properties. As a result of that, that makes you further and further underwater, those of you that have more house than you're paying for. So we have to begin to make sure that this county, along with the state, encourage and make sure that people coming into Prince George's County and appraising property, appraise them properly, because if you appraise property properly, you would not see the decrease that we have. So I do have a plan. I bring in the realtors and other individuals in the housing industry for us to begin to put together a major educational program to help stem foreclosure. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I think it is important to understand that over the last couple of years, we have taken some very constructive steps in the state to try to deal with the foreclosure crises. We are leading the state in foreclosures, but for example, we have lengthened the foreclosure period in the state. We had one of the shortest foreclosure periods in the state. I was a proud supporter of a change in law that lengthened that period. We cracked down on mortgage fraud, strengthen our laws around mortgage fraud. As Mr. Dean has mentioned, we also passed emergency legislation this year that requires a loan modification review prior to a foreclosure filing. That went into effect at the beginning of July. We've got to make sure that that is implemented well and that that in fact happens before we see more foreclosure filings. I think we also have to concentrate with our nonprofits on that group of homeowners who are 90+ days late. We have a large group in our county, somewhere at the end of last year was about 17%, who have subprime loans in the county that are 90+ days late. We have to focus in on that group and try to save their home ownership. Working with our nonprofits, being competitive and looking at outside grants that we can compete for and bring into the county to address that particular population. We also have to have an aggressive plan on how we maintain those properties that are vacant and looking distressed in neighborhoods and also affecting property values in neighborhoods. And also, as Mr. Dean has mentioned, we have to deal with the appraisal issues. Appraisers are using a number of homes that are being converted through the foreclosure process to devalue your homes, basically. So we've got to address that. Okay, so thank you.
As Delegate Levi said, talking about the nonprofits, that is one of the ways that we're going to have to strengthen our work with the nonprofits that can help our people who are in trouble. It used to be that it was these subprime loans that were causing the foreclosure. Right now, it's the fact that a lot of our residents are losing their jobs. They used to have 2 incomes, now they have 1. And so keeping up with everything is become a burden. So we've got to work with our nonprofits. The other is we got to work with our state partners. The state has passed some good laws that we need to partner with the state to make sure. But we need to make sure that here in Prince George's County, we use every tool in our belt. And that is we can't send money back to the federal government, especially back to HUD, at a time when we're leading the nation in foreclosures. So you can't just willy-nilly send $5 million back there because you can't figure out how to use it to help people who need help in this county. The other thing is we have to look at better ways. Yes, we want banks to remodify the loans, but we've got to force those banks to the table. Right now, Massachusetts is looking at a situation where they're actually suing the banks. Chicago's looking at the same thing, and so is the Philadelphia. By suing the banks to get them to the table, to force them to deal with the issues of remodifying the loans for the people who have them. And if they don't, the loans that, the houses that have been foreclosed, making sure they don't stay abandoned. So we've got to be aggressive and look at innovative ways, but we've got to make sure that we're doing our part. And as county executive, I will make sure that I'm right there with our housing director who looks at these issues and is working with the state and federal to make sure that we're aggressively going after this issue to close it. Thank you.
Thank you.